Okay, welcome back, fellow Beamer enthusiasts. You're looking at a passenger side fender removed from a 97 BMW 740iL, and today we're going to show you how to remove the fender, the steps necessary, the tools, and some do's and don'ts that you'll need. In order to remove a fender, you're going to have to remove the hood. The reason why is, if you look on the side of the fender, there are two openings. These two openings is where the screws that hold the bracket to the hood go. So if you don't take these off, the fender is not going to slide out. Okay, let me go and show you where the screws are located on this fender. Obviously there's two here, and then if you look along here, you're gonna find these screws. And again, these screws are visible when you open the hood, and they're at, they're on the side of the fender. And again, the screws look like this. Okay, and they go up here. So that's how they look. Okay, if we look at the side of the fender, there's two more. There's one here, one here. Again, forgot to mention, those are 30 Torx screws, so you're going to need a 30 Torx bits to remove those. As we continue, there's also one right here, and this screw is often forgotten because it is covered by a strip. So if I'm looking at the passenger driver side, this is how the strip looks. Okay, now most people forget to take this off because obviously it's covered here. So when they try to remove the fender, they end up bending it. So make sure you take this cover off, and the Torx will be behind there. Next, we come to the bottom of the fender. Okay, there are two 10mm bolts right here. There's one here, and there's one here. Okay, note of caution with these bolts. I don't know if you can see it here, but they have some sort of glue or paste. So this 10mm, when you try to put a ratchet in there, it's not going to go ahead and go in there because all this stuff around it, it's going to prevent the ratchet from clipping on properly. So what I do is I go ahead and just take a flat screwdriver and just go ahead and, what I did is I went ahead and basically removed that. See, it's like a rubber cement. So I removed it from the edges of the bolts, so I was able to stick the so I removed again, so I was able to go ahead and properly fit the 10mm here. Okay, and again, you can use something like this, or you can also go ahead and use one of these right here. So once you put it in there, you can start taking it off. Now these bolts are located under the car. So again, if you look, this is the driver's side. If you look under there, this is how it's going to look. You're going to have to go ahead and remove these 8mm bolts. This one here, this one, there's one right here. You have to go ahead and bring this cover, you have to push it aside. Okay, you don't necessarily have to remove this cover. You just have to go ahead and push it to the side so you have access to the two 10mm bolts that are holding the fender in place. Okay, so this is where they are. Lastly, the last bolt is located right here, right below towards the edge of the fender, right there. Again, this is a bolt that's pretty hard to get to, especially because the bumper, let me show you where it goes. That bolt latches on right here. Okay, so again, it's hard to get to with the bumper in place because the bumper, there's the bumper bracket. It's right here, so you can stick the Torx bit right here, and also you cannot go ahead and move this out of the way and stick a ratchet with the Torx in here because there's no space. So that is why in a previous video I went ahead and showed you how to remove the front bumper out of this car, because again, in order to remove the fender, you will have to remove the hood, and you will also have to remove the fender, okay, because of this bolt right here. And again, this is how the bolt looks right here, if I can see it right there. once it's when it's attached to the fender. Okay, now that I shown you where the bolts are, this is how everything looks right here before you start working on it. So now you have a good idea as to where the bolts are and how to have access to them. Okay, lastly, just want to go ahead and give you do's and don'ts. Okay, these Torx here, I think this was one of the flaws that BMW had when they put these fenders on. I know on most new models they don't use these Torx anymore. They use 10 millimeters, and the reason why I believe they stopped using it is because these are pretty driven in there most of the time. Okay, and hopefully you don't find a car with rust in there, because then it's pretty much impossible to remove these. What happens is when you go ahead and put your bolt here, this is a 30 Torx bit, you're gonna have to be careful. Let me see here. You're gonna be careful because these are pretty tight in there, so when you try to remove them, if your bit slips just once, it's gonna go ahead and basically mess up the grooves on the bolts. And when that happens, no matter how hard you try to remove it with the Torx, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to drill it out. So again, be careful when you remove these. I don't know if it does help, but I usually put some penetrating oil before I start taking these off. Again, I don't know if it works. I don't know how efficient that is, but it's worked for me. So again, be careful with those, okay? Now, when it's time to remove the bolts on the side of the fender, the ones I showed you previously, in order to get to those, it's pretty challenging, because you gotta put the door at a certain angle, and you get a small window of, I don't know, let me see if you can even see the bolts back there. I mean, you gotta put the window a specific way. See, you can probably see it back. Let me show you. And again, right there, you can see the bolt back there. Okay, so you have a small, tight space to work on it. There's one right there, and then let's go ahead and move and again, you see it. Again, you can barely see it right there. Okay, so most likely you're gonna strip those bolts. Okay, so one recommendation that I do, and again, this is just my recommendation, if you want to go ahead and take extra time to do the job right, good for you. If not, then you will strip those bolts. And the reason why, okay, so if we go back to the passenger side where I've already removed the fender, I went ahead and just placed these right here. This is where they would sit, right here and right here. Okay, now if the door is in place, you're gonna have to use a long extension as like this. You're gonna have to reach in there, find it and turn it like that. Okay, however, from my experience, again, these things are really bolted in. They are. In this case here, I went ahead and put some penetrating oil, and it did help a little bit. But again, with these right here, the design of the bolt is so bad, there we go, that if you just miss once, if you turn and you miss it, it's gonna strip the inside, and then you're gonna have to drill this out again. Okay, so my recommendation is, I know it's probably harder, but I went ahead and removed the door. Okay, and another video I can definitely show you how to do that, but I removed the door. So what happens is, once the door is out of the way, I was able to go ahead and basically remove the extension, and I was able to go ahead and, as you can see, got this bar here and really got in here, pushed in with my left hand, while with my right I went ahead and took it off. And when it comes off, it'll snap. That's how tight they are in there. It's like a snap. So that's how I got this one, and that's how I got this one here. So again, this is one of the biggest challenges that you're gonna face, taking the fender off, because if you try to do it with the door in place, you're gonna strip it, and you're really gonna have to take the door off eventually, drill it out. And I tried drilling through this one here as well, but it's hard. I mean, I was drilling in there for a minute, 2 minutes, and it wasn't doing anything until I finally tried again and it came off. So again, that's a don't strip it. Simple as that. So again, I'm just gonna head and showed you how to remove the fender. And again, good luck taking this fender off. If you have any questions, comments, please let us know. Or if you're looking for any parts for your 740, such as fenders, hoods, contact us, and we'll be sure to go ahead and provide the part for you at a good price. Okay. Again, thanks for watching. Beamer Merchant. You have a great day.